What's good, everybody? It's your boy Server Error 405, and like always, I am here with the Demanded himself, Joe, and we are the Gorilla Booking Podcast. And how you doing today, Joe? How's everything going?
I'm doing real good. I mean, we shouldn't be feeling real good, but we just lost a key icon in wrestling this past week. So uh Sabu
Yep.
is out there in heaven doing backflips over tables and power bombing Jesus somewhere. So let's just
Why don't we start off and talk about Sabu since it's brought up? We were going to talk about him later and get into the whole backlash stuff first, but you know, Sabu is like a really great character in wrestling, and one of my favorite things about him is that he always looked angry. He was never like this baby face. He was always the same wrestler all the time. Even if fans try to grab him, he'd move his arm away. Like he was so annoyed by like everything. Like if you think about it, every match you've ever seen, you could just watch it and not know any story, and you couldn't tell if he's a good guy or a bad guy. Maybe he's going against a heel, but he's still acting the same way no matter what. So, what are
he
your
he was a guy that you could absolutely love on the fact that he never changed his character.
yeah,
So like we've seen so many wrestlers change gimmicks. Like even the Undertaker, who was an icon, has even changed his gimmick. He went from the Dead Man to the American Badass to the Druid. He even changed his gimmick, even though the Undertaker was his overall premise.
yeah,
Sabu never changed. Sabu was always Sabu. Sabu was the hardcore icon like Tommy Dreamer. Tommy Dreamer's even changed his character, but the point is that Sabu's never changed his look. He's never changed his wrestling style. He was always hardcore 24/7. I mean, he wrestled in ECW from 1993 until 2000.
yeah.
That's a solid 7 years in a wrestling organization that is notorious for bodily damage. You
Right.
know, he was a three-time world champion, having held the ECW heavyweight world championship twice, and he's even held an NWA title.
Yeah. Yeah. I think was it NWA or was it the Eastern like before they
No,
changed it?
it was NWA.
Did he beat Shane Douglas for it? Because I if I remember right, Shane was a NWA champ for a minute.
Oh,
Or did he? Because if I remember right, like Shane had like brought that title there for a brief time. So I'm trying to remember like when Sabu held it and where he defended it at.
uh, I mean, his first introduction into ECW was in '93 of October, where he beat Taz.
Right.
Um,
That's when he was like the
or
Tasmaniac, right? That was like before he turned into
yeah,
the rival that he ended up having, later on in his career, Taz with one Z.
yeah, or two Z's, or
Well,
how
Tuesday,
many Z's he ever wanted to add two Z's or one Z, how many Z's he ever wanted to put against it.
well, he had the one Z, well, literally a one Z when he was in ECW and when he wrestled, but like he had the one Z was at ECW, and then the two Z's is when he went to WWE. So that's when they did the two Z's because they didn't want to
It
lose
said
the
he won
Taz
the
name.
NWA World Heavyweight title in 2000.
2000.
Let me see.
Who did he beat? Fucking Ron
That's what I'm looking.
Killings? Because Ron Killings might have had it during that time. Good old R Truth. Because Ron Killings was the NWA champ when he was in TNA.
Says he John Cronus.
Oh, the Eliminator guy.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
wait, Cronus was an
No, that's X.
NWA.
No, that's XPW. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
Independent Circuit. I'm looking at the Independent Circuit. He beat John
XPW was
Cronus for the
great, by the
XP.
way.
He beat the XPW World Heavyweight Champion. And so he won it in 2000. So I'm right here in his thing. I wish I would have known. Like it kind of hurts that I don't know this, but
I I'm I don't really remember him being an NWA world champion. Maybe like an NWA North American champion or something like that.
well, it
Possibly.
says World Champion.
Interesting. Well, like Wikipedia or something.
Yeah, I'm pulling up some of his Wikipedia stuff.
Okay. I would just look over NWA World Champions by year and see who's who. And if you got like, I want to
What
say
about?
Ron Killings held it early 2000s.
Sabu won the NWA World Heavyweight Championship by defeating Mike Rapata in November of 2000. He held it for 38 days before losing it back to him. That's probably why we don't know.
Who's
Never
that?
even heard of
Who?
Mike Rapa
Who the fuck?
Rapada.
Who the fuck is that?
Who is Mike Rapata? Let's go down this rabbit hole, folks.
Yeah, let's just do that.
Mike
Sabu,
Rapata, formerly known as the Colorado Kid, from Colorado Springs, Colorado.
who did he beat for the NWA
6 foot
title?
four. He was trained by Jeff Jarrett, Turjo Yamamoto, and Ken Wayne. He's actually kind of
Who did he beat to be the champ? Jeff Jarrett? Because Jeff Jarrett had the NWA title for a minute.
let's see. He beat Jerry Lawler to wow, he's beat some pretty wild people. In '94, his name was Rookie of the Year, United States Wrestling Association outside of Memphis. He's also reigned as the NAASW North American Heavyweight Champion in Jonesboro, Arkansas by beating Cactus Jack. And he's the USWA Unified World Heavyweight Champion, beating Jerry Lawler. Mike
Yeah.
Rapata. This guy's got some talent underneath of him.
I'll
And
have to
I've
I'll have to
and
look him up.
he's never wrestled a day in WWE.
Was he in WCW?
That's wild. No,
TNA?
no.
Hmm. Interesting.
He's a two-time NWA World Heavyweight Championship. He's an NWA North American Championship 5 times. He's an OMW, NAA, SW, MCW North American Heavyweight Championship 5 times, and the final champion. Yeah, no.
Hmm. Well, that's going to be a rabbit hole that'll be fun to look down watching videos and stuff of this guy. But kind of going back to Sabu, um what's your favorite match of Sabu? Which one has repeat value if you could pick one?
It's not a repeat value. I've actually seen him live as a kid.
Okay. But what
So
match like that you love? That's more like a
his whole his whole Taz and him storyline was just
yeah,
solid all the way through. Like him and Taz all the way through, even down to the FTW title and how he was passed out and he lost it or he won it
yeah,
asleep technically.
yeah.
So like that has to be the one that really benchmarks like how crazy they were into playing the roles between him and Taz. But for the most part, what really got me was I've always known him as Sabu. I never knew his name was Terry Brunk.
You just knew that when he passed away that was his name?
Yeah, I'm today's late. I was today years old when I learned his name was Terry Brunk. Never knew his real name.
I
Like
heard it a
I was
long time
probably
ago, and I just
I was
never heard
probably
of a
closer
guy
to my
named Brunk.
no, yeah. No, I was probably closer into my 20s when I found out what the Undertaker's real name is. Because it's like if you're a wrestling fan, you just choose to let the kayfabe live, right? Like Isaac Yankem and Kane. They're totally two different people to me.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, Taker did use his first name when he was in WCW.
Well, yeah, but I wasn't watching WCW when he's in it. I remember Undertaker debuting for WWE. Well,
So
WWF at the time.
so really, what year did you start watching wrestling, like for real? Like just actually actively
19,
watching it?
1989.
Oh, okay. That's a good year for WCW too. There was a lot of good stuff
Yeah.
going on during '89.
But I was a Hogan guy. I was a Hogan kid.
Yeah.
Hogan, all that stuff out there. Hogan was it, and then,
Yeah.
like that was like I think what really got me, and I know we're gonna sidebar this real fast. I think what really got me like involved in the wrestling was The Undertaker, and is why he's one of my favorite wrestlers to date because he just brought, like you had the boogeyman and stuff. He just brought this persona, the aura that The Undertaker, had the young kids say it, bring. It just he changed the room when he walked in.
Right.
You know, sure, you had your Shawn Michaels, Bret the Hitman Harts, or technical wrestlers, your great wrestlers like that,
Yeah.
Ultimate Warrior and stuff like that. But like when you watched wrestling back in the early 90s, and as you're growing up through, because I'm 41, so as I'm growing up, I'm becoming a teenager and stuff like that. You want stuff like the Attitude Era was my era. I was 17 to 21, 22, and the Attitude Era was coming around. So it was like watching, all that other stuff. But the Undertaker keeping that gimmick from the early 90s when I was a little kid, remembering that before I was a teenager, and then being from Philadelphia, and all of a sudden here comes Eastern Championship Wrestling turning its name over into Extreme Championship Wrestling, and it's hardcore, and it's just like it's just adrenaline and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And there's this guy who just comes up, jumps up into the top rope, points his finger in the sky, doing swanton bombs off of the second floor of the Hammerstein Ballroom through
Yeah.
20 tables. Like, you
Yeah.
know,
Or just that old
and
ECW arena in Philly, that's
the
was the
2300
home
arena,
bit. Yeah,
yeah.
2300. I mean, honestly, people say what they want about how Paul ran the business, but the booking part, he was the king of turn the lights off. Something's about to happen when the lights come back on. AEW does it a little bit now. I don't think WWE does it as much. Maybe I think I've seen it maybe once or twice here and there. But Paul made it fucking really clear. Like when the lights go out, this is going to be something big. And
Like
Taz and
shit's about to
Sabu,
hit the fan.
Taz and Sabu never like touched each other. They had this year-long feud where they didn't really interact. But there was the famous one where Taz was in a match. He was like on the ground doing his thing, and then the lights went out. As soon as the lights come out, you see Taz standing up, arms folded, and then you see Sabu doing this, and they're like one corner, and the lights go off. That is just a build for like I think that was the build for their first pay-per-view, actually. And I think that was the main event, if I'm not mistaken, for ECW's first pay-per-view. So for me, that was a huge like holy shit, for being this small promotion for guys that aren't well known as all these other WWE guys or WCW guys. Like that was huge. Just for me, that moment put them over. Outside of, their matches were great. They really just put it all on the line. But Sabu, I really feel like he he's more than just a hardcore guy because his match with John Cena, and there was a thing I read on Twitter where he talked about it years ago about his match with Cena, and he said Cena was great to work with. Cena's one of the best ever, and you could tell if you watch that match again that Cena worked so well with Sabu when people expected it to be like a colossal failure because of the style clash. But it was a great match considering it's Sabu and John Cena. So, you know,
Night of Champions in an extreme lumberjack match.
yeah, it was an Extreme Rules match. I don't remember Lumberjacks being involved. It was this Extreme Rules match, but it was a great match. And Sabu said that they talked about the match in the back beforehand. And then John helped him remember some of the spots. So he called the spot for him when he would forget. So, they just worked really well together. And if people haven't watched that match, they should because it's very underrated. And people who shit on John Cena and just don't think that he's like a great wrestler, not saying that he's like this amazing, technical wrestler, but when I say great wrestler, I'm talking about someone who adapts to who he's wrestling with. So, I just think Sabu is definitely going to be missed. Was a very talented person. Um, and it's a shock. He wasn't very old. He's only 60. So, it's a sad one. You know what I mean? It's surprising because I don't remember him being sick or any weird addictions or anything, but you know, what are you gonna
I
say?
mean,
You
there
can tell I
is
got something on your mind.
there is the dirty rumor of what actually happened.
I've heard that.
And
I don't even want to talk about it because
yeah, I don't want to bring it up,
yeah, I
but
don't even want to talk about it.
it's crazy work.
It's
But I have
ridiculous, the rumor. Yeah.
yeah, but it says here that it was an extreme. It was the match which was made when Sabu won an Extreme Battle Royale on ECW on Sci-Fi. So
Right.
this is post ECW buyout.
Yeah.
Um, was supposed to include ECW Lumberjacks only. However, pre-match ruling by Mr. McMahon even the playing field when he ordered the ring to be surrounded by not only ECW extremists but also Raw superstars. The match itself was very bit all of an all-out brawl that the Charlotte crowd expected. In early stages, the competitors took advantage of the ringside lumberjacks, Sabu and Cena repeatedly tossing each other outside, feeding their opponents to the respective brands. Assembly Sabu took control, paying off an Extreme Rules format to unleash a brutal assault on the Raw superstar. Sabu utilized his favorite weapon, a steel chair, to deliver his patented triple jump moonsault, triple jump leg drop, and later the Arabian facebuster.
Yeah, he did a lot of
Unable
his.
to,
He did. Yeah, we don't have to read the whole match because we got a lot of stuff
no,
to talk
but
about. But at the end of the
the
day,
whole
people
point is
should
this:
watch it. Yeah, people should watch it.
this guy would do flips with chairs on his ass and hit you with them.
Yeah,
Come on,
that's
this
always
guy
my
was
favorite thing
built
that he does, where he just fucking puts the
when
chair under
he
his
take the
legs.
chair and just
Yeah,
goes out with it.
yeah,
It's a moonsault too.
yeah.
It's not even a
Yeah,
like
I just think the guy was great, and it was a shock to a lot of people in the community, and he's definitely going to be missed. But speaking of pay-per-views, we did have Backlash this last Saturday. Did you get a chance to watch it?
I did.
Okay, what is your overall thoughts on the show before we get into like specific standout moments in there? What was your favorite match, the show overall? What'd you think?
I was okay. So my favorite match was the Fatal Four Way U.S.
Mhm.
title where um,
Sabu,
not Sabu. I'm seeing I got Sabu in my Jacob Fatu,
Fatu, yeah.
Jacob Fatu won. The Jacob Fatu won. That was my favorite match of the night.
Okay.
It was a little short in my opinion for a Fatal Four Way, but I get it because the main event was Cena Orton, which was 11 RKO's. I saw that
Yeah.
there was 11 RKO's in it, and I'm wondering if that included like half the staff and Nick Aldis and stuff like that.
Right.
But
Maybe.
maybe. But like that match was good too. Like that would be like the second match of the night because there was a great story, and I really wish it would have finished off with Cena smacking the ref. Like that's what I really wanted, like
Yeah.
storyline wise. Like let's go
Yeah.
back and like just do an old dirty call up. It would have been
Yeah.
great. Um, Everybody said the females match was really good. The Becky Lynch
Lyra and Becky.
Lyra Valkyrie. But you know what threw me off? Well, threw me up, I should say, is when you got every time that camera panned in on Lyra Valkyria, it looked like she threw up in her hair. It looked like garbage in her hair. It just
Ugh.
threw me off. The camera work was awful during that match, probably because Becky's got ring rust and they're trying to make her look real good. But um like it really was that match troublesome me. Like I know those two women can put on an excellent match, but it was really troublesome to me because maybe the production of it was just bad, or however they had it set up with the camera work and stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
but like those were
honestly,
the
the match itself for me, it was pretty good. It was better than expected. I mean, I talked on, we were in the Discord, not you and I, but we had like a live wrestling
look,
chat
it's a
going on.
podcast. Look, it's a podcast Discord if you want it. We'll have
It,
links somewhere down below.
it'll be in the description for sure. And please join the Discord so you can talk some shit with us. But we were talking about it, and everyone in there they didn't really have high hopes for the match. And I said like it should be fine because Becky can work, Lyra can work. I think the thing is with Lyra, people aren't, and I'm included in this. I'm people. She has something missing for me. I think I want to be really supportive, but I feel like there's something with her gimmick, something with her personality. It just something's not there. It's not connecting. I think she's a great wrestler. I think she puts on great matches. I'm glad that they kept the title on her and didn't just give it to Becky. But I don't know what it is. Something about her right now, like something. I can't put my finger on it.
Maybe she's not good on the mic, so it's like if you put Becky on the mic versus her, you know
Yeah,
Becky's gonna chew her apart, and that's really gonna like down her down her character a little bit. Like if you want
yeah,
to call it like a passing of the torch, maybe I don't know because I don't really see it as a passing of the torch. I mean, I think my problem was also that it was just a thrown together storyline. So like with typical WWE fashion, you got a good build up to a good match at the end.
right.
So I think with what Backlash was, they were kind of rushing it to kind of give her a defense. Even after WrestleMania, where they won the title, and then on Raw the next night they lost the tag titles. They hadn't even had the tag titles for like 24 hours,
Yeah, and she
and then
turned on her.
Becky
Yeah,
turns on her for a pay per view a month later. I mean, it is the typical. it is the typical storyline, but there was no like mic build up. There was
Yeah,
no like real mic build up to it. Like, not like what Rhea and Jade Cargill and Io
right.
did during Mania. Like that was a great build up
You mean
and how you
Bianca?
could
Bianca,
feel
not Jade.
Bianca, yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
No, Jade and Naomi, sorry.
Jade. Yeah,
Because it was Jade, Naomi, Bianca, Ripley, and Io.
just all those ladies
Like
for
those two
WrestleMania.
story
Build up was great.
the buildup was great. Like even
Yeah,
how you casted her out as the underdog, and that's how she won. Like that would have been a real good setup for even like Lyra. Like, oh, mark her dead because Becky's got her eyes on her, you
right.
know. So, but it was a solid pay-per-view. It only had like 5 matches. I mean, you could
Yeah,
talk about Gunther giving Pat McAfee the respect at the end and breaking kayfabe.
I like that. I like that a lot,
That
actually.
I think that solidified the match, even though the match was like pretty one-sided, but that's what we were expecting. You
Yeah,
got some showboating from McAfee and then Gunther just being the ring general.
yeah.
Um, but to have Gunther give McAfee his respect at the end of the match
And to
was
Cole.
probably it was probably the biggest shocker of the night, actually.
I like
Because
I like how he did it where he didn't have to like shake his hand. He just kind of gave him one of the little, and he did it to Cole too. And then he left, and it surprised me because I thought maybe he's gonna run back in there and like drill him and choke him out again. But it's kind of like what we talked about in the last episode. Like I felt like the match was going to be dominated by Gunther. Pat would get a couple moves in, and he'd win. My issue, I didn't think the match was very good at all. Pat didn't look very good, which isn't too surprising because it's not like he's training every day for wrestling, and he hasn't been in the ring for a while. So I just feel like he he did as well as you could expect for someone who didn't train for a wrestling match. Like he just used what he learned before when he was doing all the NXT stuff with Adam Cole, and like his flip off the top rope, and he didn't do anything like too crazy. He's a little older now. He's got a lot more to risk than he did at the time when he would wrestle Adam Cole. Plus, Adam Cole's a small guy, so it's not like there's a fear of Adam Cole hurting him or anything like Gunther, because Gunther could chop him too many times and Pat's not showing up for the podcast on Monday. You know what I'm saying? So, at the end of the day, I didn't think the match was very good. I think the pay-per-view overall was good. I wasn't really big on the Cena match. It was just kind of, I expected a little more from both of those guys, considering it's more than likely their last match against each other. I agree with you though. The Fatu match was great, and I love Fatu. So I'm happy he won and, continues looking strong. Jeff Cobb showed up and, he got, an okay reaction, when he showed up. But
I don't think people understand who Jeff Cobb really
of
is.
course not, because why would they ever know? Most people, casual fans, because that's what WWE is predominantly, have no idea who the fuck Jeff Cobb is. He was barely in AEW. Casuals barely know what AEW is. He wrestled in New Japan. People always talk about New Japan, but they pretend to
Lucha
watch New
Underground,
Japan.
Lucha Underground Jeff Cobb was incredible, but he wasn't
Yeah,
Jeff Cobb.
no, he was somebody else, and that was also
He
years
was
ago.
Badura something. I can't I'll butcher the
Yeah,
Latin name the Lucha name he had. But again, the guy was absolutely a beast
yeah,
everywhere he goes. And then even his stint in New Japan, he was a part of United Empire. So he was with Offspray, you know, uh
hmm
oh my god, his name's coming Kyle Fletcher. He
yeah,
was with all of them. You
yeah.
know, they were a dominant group
But no one in
and because
America
they were the
watches.
United
No one watches New Japan. There's a
no
lot.
no casual. Yes, no casual
I mean,
goes,
think
right.
about it like this. There's so many people who will talk about New Japan this, New Japan that, but they couldn't tell you what storylines are going on currently. They don't know what's going on. They just watch Wrestle Kingdom once a year, and then they act like they know everybody that shows up in AEW. When most casual fans have zero clue who the fuck any of these guys are. That's why a lot of these New Japan guys, outside of like Nakamura, they don't go to WWE. They stay in like AEW because those fans are a whole audience full of people who pretend to watch New Japan on a regular basis. So that's my
But
hot take on that. But
the head guys that are from New Japan that are currently wrestling in AEW, there's some of I would say five of the biggest names. But then again, Kenny Omega is your bridge link there. Because Kenny was always in New Japan, and so were the Bucks. But
Right.
Kenny was the guy in New Japan where he got with Okada, he got with Ibushi. They were considered the Golden Lovers.
Right.
And then you have oh my god, what's his name? Ishii.
Hmm.
Ishii was there too,
Right.
and then you have oh, there's one more guy that's in the AEW, but he's not. See, the problem is with AEW, and this is the thing: you have these New Japan like top talent guys, and you're hardly using them. So now I'm forgetting who they are. And look, I'm currently in my AEW sweatshirt,
Right.
so like that's bad on my part because I watch them both. Like I watch more than just Wrestle Kingdom and stuff.
Right.
Even I watch almost all the G1 and stuff like that. But do I
Hmm.
watch the mid-time pay-per-views? Not really. Do I know all the storylines? No.
Right.
But but the thing is though is that the guys they bring over that are from New Japan are super duper known.
Right.
And they're getting paid good to be in AEW and not being utilized. Good on them for
Yeah.
getting paid not to work. Um,
Right.
we would all want that in the real world.
Right.
Uh, but like you said, like Nakamura, you know, they're not even utilizing him. Supposedly he's still under contract. They're talking, and he came out with that baller new gimmick that
Yeah.
got him the Intercontinental title off of LA Knight. You know,
But the fans don't like him like that, honestly, and
like
that's the sad part because the
why?
gimmick is so great. I think because they're so used to how he was packaged in NXT, and they liked singing along with the song, and I think that's because that's the gimmicky thing with WWE where they get shit on all the time. And when they changed the gimmick, and he just spoke in his own language and sounded like this anime bad guy, like that's cool shit to me. But
Yeah,
but no one really got behind it, and that's why they took the title off of him after a while. And it's like, what else are you gonna do with him? So I just feel like they get stuck in the rock and a hard place and they book themselves in a corner. And then you have a guy like Jeff Cobb who's gonna show up. Hopefully they use him in a way that they're using like Fatu. And they don't overuse him. Like maybe they can team him up with Brunson Reed because Brunson Reed has also been in New Japan.
no, he's siding with Solo.
No, he is, but I'm saying Brunson Reed, remember, was also with Solo at one point. Remember before he got
Right.
hurt,
So
he was
so
working with him too.
hopefully so hopefully they turn on him. They turn on Solo
And
because they're
Fatu
the
leads.
outcasted and no, because they're the outcasted bloodline. They're not true bloodline related. Solo
Right,
Fatu are related. Bronson and Cobb aren't. You could put Bronson and Cobb together, and then they beat Solo up, which then Jacob comes in and saves Solo, which shows that he can get over on Solo, and
right.
then you have them feud or something like that. I don't know. There's so many ways you can turn this around because of how you brought Jeff Cobb in, but I hate that they have to really like, is the bloodline storyline done? They haven't put like a let's close the fucking book,
They'll
you know.
never close it though. They'll never close it because the bloodline story runs in so many different directions, and there's so many family members that it can, because like Zilla Fatu is supposed to be coming at some point. And there's a lot of different directions they can go. They can just go even more like younger than what they are now. They can just use different types of people. I mean, if Sammy could be in the bloodline, they can always add other people that aren't blood related, but they're like family. There's a lot of different things that they can do with the bloodline story. So I think it'll always be around in some capacity. It may not be great, but because you're comparing it to like how it started with Roman and everybody, and that was like they say, it's cinema. That really was. It was like must see TV every week. So it's tough to go. It's tough to compete with that. But you get some younger guys in there, fresh storylines with different people that aren't like Cody Rhodes and anyone else.
God.
It's I think it's going to work out better because you could see that Jacob and Solo are going to have some sort of come to Jesus moment, and because Jacob's more of like, I don't need help. Like he was bothered that Jeff was there, helping him win, and he's more like, I don't need your help, but he's just kind of like there, and Solo's kind of like going over his head a bit. So that's eventually going to come to a head. So they all just turn on Jacob, and then he's like this full-fledged, baby face, or they reverse it somehow and they all turn on Solo, and then maybe Solo becomes this baby face, which I don't think would work because of Solo's character and because I'm not a big fan of Solo, to be honest. Like I think he's a good character when he works with Roman when he was there, but when he's like on his own and they have the jacket where he's like the leader, and it just I'm not buying it. He's always like an enforcer type to me.
Yeah, he's the enforcer who thinks he's got main event energy.
Yes,
He thinks
exactly.
he's the main character, but he shouldn't be the main character
No,
because he gets outshadowed by I mean, the only people he can't outshadow is the Tongans.
right.
You know, that's it. You ain't outshadowing Jacob Fatu. You ain't
No,
outshadowing the Usos. You ain't outshadowing Roman. Hell,
mm-mm.
if Rikishi came back, you ain't outshadowing him.
No.
You know, Hikaleo shows up. No, you ain't outshadowing him. Like you ain't. He's the lower. He's just an enforcer. Like you said, he's just a lower version, the lower class version of everybody in that active family right now.
Yeah,
And I think even when Zilla shows up, Zilla's going to outshine him too.
yeah,
And I think the problem with Solo though is exactly what it is. Jacob, Zilla, the Tongans, we're all indie scene guys. Solo's a performance center guy, I believe. I don't
yeah.
think he's done.
I don't remember him being on the Indies at all. I just remember him from NXT. I don't know if he did, it wouldn't be under the same name. It'd probably be something else. I think that's a gimmicky WWE name that they gave him. But
Yeah, he was trained by Rikishi, the performance center. It says future stars of wrestling, Kenny King and Sin Body. He was also known as Sefa Fatu. So maybe he was in the, oh, there you go, independent circuit from 2018 to 2021.
okay, what
He was.
where what was the company that he was a part of,
Uh, uh,
or did he just travel to different companies like most indie guys, or was it like a home base for him?
so it says on April 29th, 2018, Jacob Fatu made his in-ring debut under the ring name Sefa Fatu and regularly teamed up with his cousins Jacob and Journey Fatu. On January 29th, Fatu would win the FSW Nevada State Championship and held the belt for 149 days. He lost it to Alex Hammerstone.
Hammerstone.
In August 2019, Fatu defeated Watson to win the Arizona Wrestling Federation title, which he held for 418 days until losing it in January of 2021. And then he went into contract in 2021 under the ring name Solo Sikoa, where he interrupted a segment between co-host Grayson Waller and LA Knight attacking Waller. Sikoa made his in-ring debut November 22nd, defeating Jeet Rama. December Sikoa after his alter ego attacked and choked him backstage. Um, January 2022 episode where Boa and Sikoa fought to a double countout. January 26th episode of NXT, Sikoa defeated Boa in a no disqualifications fall count anywhere match. Whoa.
So yeah, so basically he had a little bit of indie stuff and then he went to NXT, and then from there, because I remember he won the North American title and they made him look pretty strong in NXT.
Yeah, he
And
defeated Roderick Strong in a five-way North American title ladder match.
yeah, because that was when they were still sticking around, like in
Yeah.
NXT, they were
I,
still around.
uh, he's also beat Von Wagner, and then he suffered a knee injury in the process.
So I think the main thing with Solo is he's got
Gunther
it.
is the one who defeated his streak.
Yeah, because he was undefeated for a while. Like I said, they booked him real
Mm.
strong in NXT, but I think his biggest weakness is his mic ability. I think that's the biggest thing. He's not horrible in the ring. He's just not like he's just kind of boring, really. NXT he was kind of the same, but they just booked him so strong that it's kind of like Goldberg. You know what I mean? Goldberg didn't really need to wrestle. He just won all the time. couple moves here and there look good, and then jackhammer 1, 2, 3 on to the next week. So with Solo, it wasn't to the extreme where they were pushing him at a Goldberg level, but they were definitely pushing him as, when he gets called up, he's going to be something special. But I just think the mic skills need to improve. That's the biggest thing because he's got too many talented guys that are younger and hungrier that are around him, and whether they're family or not, they're definitely competing with him for, his spot.
It was in a Solo Sikoa was in a 2018. I don't know if it was. I don't know if it was. Hold on. Okay, so there's a film out there. We're going to go find this film, okay? Because I do love when wrestlers getting the films, all right? So that's always like a fun thing to watch and stuff, like
Right.
Cena and cock blockers and shit like that. But he was in a Solo Sequoia was in a 2018 American neo-noir crime drama film directed by Kalen Kasuma, written and co-produced by Phil Hay and Matt Manfredi, starring Nicole Kidman and Toby Cabell, Bradley Whitford, and Sebastian Stan. The movie's called Destroyer,
Interesting. See,
and he played it. All right,
here's the one. Hold
and
on a second. Hold
his
on a second.
name.
Hold on.
Wait,
Hold
wait,
on.
wait,
Hold on.
wait.
Hold
Hold on, no, wait. This is the
on.
better part.
Hold on.
The name in the movie. His name was Taz.
That's crazy. He kind of looks like
Callback. It's a
Taz a little
callback.
bit.
One Z too. Callback.
Here's the one thing. Here's the one thing I love about Joe, and we got to work on this. Joe loves going down rabbit holes. And sometimes it's like the OCD. You got to bring them back on track because we even though that's interesting knowledge, this is why the shows end up being 2 hours. You know what I'm saying? We start next thing you know, we're gonna start looking down like what other movies was he in? What else he's got working on?
Well, he's
You
only got
know?
one. So Scylla Sequoia's only got one. But I think I think that is the light that I do like. The whole thing is like I want to bring the like who's going to talk about that.
Right.
I want somebody out there. I want somebody out there to go tell me another wrestling podcast that told you that Solo Sequoia was in a 2018 film called Destroyer with Nicole Kidman. Go find it for me. I'll apologize then, but I probably won't have to apologize because it's probably not even out there. I guarantee you there's probably not even a podcast if Solo was to show up and it goes, talk about your filmography.
Right.
It's not going to happen. So, like, that's what I want to bring to the table. I want to bring out to this table, and anybody else who wants to join us. We're bringing on guests very, very soon.
Yeah.
Um, that would bring that side note because it's like you said, it's like my version of a hot take.
Right.
Like I don't really do hot takes like you do. I mean, I could come up with them, but
Right.
like I'd rather play the rabbit hole and just drag you with me.
Right.
Let's go down to the Mad Hatter's Tea Party real quick in Wonderland because we're gonna go because I guarantee you right now, whoever watches this, they're gonna want to watch that film. Probably not because I said it, but you're gonna probably figure it out. At
I
least look
think
for a
I
clip
think
of it.
I think what's gonna happen is they'll look for it and they'll find it, and then it'll be on Amazon for like $3.99. They'll be like, "Fuck that! I'm not watching it." Unless it's on some like Tubi or Pluto TV or something, then maybe. But outside of that, and as I say that, he's going on a rabbit hole to see where you can find it. What
I'm not
streaming
looking.
service,
I'm not
Terry?
looking. My hands are up. My
He can't help
hands up. Not
himself.
looking.
Joe can't help
I'm going
himself.
to look. I'm going to look afterwards, but I'm not looking now.
That's the new name, fucking Mr. Rabbit Hole, right here.
Yeah.
So yeah, so basically overall, we both agree Backlash as a whole wasn't too bad. Monday Night Raw, the wasn't bad. They had Becky come out and basically she kind of pulled the Hogan gimmick, like everyone calls her Becky Hogan. And she turned into Eminem at the same time, where she said, I am whatever you say I am. If you think I'm this, you're right. I'm this. If you think I'm this, because she's getting a lot of criticism, and she has for a while, for how she's booked by the fans. And the promo was really good. She also said recently that if she was in the ring with MJF in a promo battle, she would win, which I think that she would have zero chance against MJF because there's not a lot of people who could actually literally go toe to toe with him. A few have, but Becky's definitely not one of them. But she's a good promo, anyways. And the promo she cut Monday was fair, and I like the direction they're taking her, where she's just owning all of it. So the next part I'm very interested to see what's going to happen. Um, Besides that, they did tease. I don't want to say they're giving it away with Sammy turning on Punk, but they almost had like a whole Shield moment in the ring, um, because they kind of brawled it out with Seth's group. Um, Jay was out there. Sammy came out, made the save. So the three of them, Punk, Sammy, and Jay, were standing there. Sammy had a chair, and it almost looked like the Shield moment when Seth fucking gave Roman that chair in the back. So I kind of thought it was going to happen then. But now they're going to be in a tag team match on Saturday night's main event. Sammy and Punk against Seth and Braun. So, you know, it's obvious that Sammy's going to do it. I mean, is there a world where Sammy doesn't join them?
I don't think he fits.
Because they're
I don't think
definitely
he
going to have a
fits.
third person. Like, who would fit? I mean, I think we talked about this last week, who they should get, but you know, it's just they're making it so obvious that it's Sammy. Like it's going to be a great moment because I think that Sammy needs that, especially with KO potentially never wrestling again. What else does he have? He's going to keep doing bloodline shit constantly. Um, you know, what else would he have? So I think this would be a perfect thing for him
Yeah,
because
but so
he has history with Seth
you ever
and
see the
Braun, actually.
meme of the you ever see the meme of the Hydra and it's got two serious faces and then a goofy space dragon?
Yes.
And this is literally what you're going to make it with Sami Zayn. It's a devilish looking dragon, Braun Breaker, devilish looking dragon, Seth Rollins, Sami Zayn. He
Right.
does it doesn't work
But did he
like
work in the
I
bloodline though? Like when you look at him, he doesn't fit them at all,
but he was the comedic act.
which was fine and he made it work. But when you see him originally, like when it started, think about it. When
He
Bloodline,
wasn't a true heel the whole time.
no, he wasn't a heel at all. What I'm saying is that
But that's what that group is though. That's what the trifecta of terror is. It's a heel
they
group.
never have once said that on television yet. So I don't know if that's still their working name. They haven't even said their name. Not one time, unless I
No,
miss it.
I don't think they've actively said it either because I think they leaked it and then the IWC just shredded the name. So they're like, "Nah, we'll take it back."
Yeah, I
Like
think
that's how.
yeah. They probably did a test, then threw it out there somewhere on social media, and people
So
shit on
yeah,
it. And they're like, "Wait a
and
minute, that's not
yeah,
working."
they ran it through a couple test groups of
Yeah,
mouthy internet podcasters like us, and we're like, "Nah, it's a shitty fucking name. Think of something
yeah.
else better."
I overall though, like if you think about when Sammy first got involved in the Bloodline story, it was kind of weird because he didn't fit. And then when they made him an honorary Oos, and then the whole Oosie promo, that people liked it, they enjoyed it, but it wasn't like he didn't seem like a fit there. I think he fits more with Seth and Braun and Paul, and following his career, he's a great promo. So I think him being there fits more than how he fit in the early stages of the Bloodline. Eventually, he fit and was perfect, and especially when they had the whole War Games with KO, and he turned on
Why
KO, and
not? Why not Gunther?
there's no because he's a leader. He wouldn't want to be second fiddle for Seth, and they both want the world title. You can't have somebody on there who wants the world
Exactly.
title.
No, that's exactly it. It gives you the chance to get it out too.
No, but that's how they're that's how Braun's going to turn eventually, because Braun's going to want that world title. They already had a backstage segment already. Exactly. They're gonna be that Batista moment with Braun, but that's gonna be later on. Sammy's not interested in the world title. He had his opportunities multiple times. Gunther, they have him on there. He's getting a shot in a few weeks on Raw. I think they said June 7th or whatever. He's going to face the winner of Logan and Jay. That was announced on Monday Night Raw as well. I think it was June 7th, they said. And whatever the show is in Arizona, that's what he's going to do. But yeah, he's a leader. There's no way that he's going to be second fiddle to Seth, especially after their shit that they had, before. Like that's not happening. Um, but moving forward, I think that they have, you know, a potential to have like a really good storyline if Sammy's there, if they do it correctly. Saturday night's main event is a good spot to do it. Um, I'm just more bothered. Like, I'm just bothered by the fact that they are making it seem so obvious that it's him. So either they go with it and it is him, and then, or maybe they flip it and it ends up being Punk, which would be just dumb because that wouldn't make any sense. So it has to be Sammy, unless they get a run in from some other person that's going to be in the group, which I don't even know who they would actually throw in there that would make sense besides Sammy. They're building to that. Like to me, this is Wrestling 101. Like everyone on social media are talking about it. Like, who else could it be if it's not them? Who would run in and help Seth and be a part of it that's not already in the match? Joe's
I
looking
don't
up.
know.
Joe's going down the rabbit hole of roster in WWE to see which one, who's going to be
I
the
just,
guy.
I just, no, like, I can't, like, like again, like Seth is Roman, Braun is Solo in this whole scenario right now, and Paul Heyman's still the wise man.
Right.
They're just rehashing a bloodline with different people that are not bloodline related, and it's just becoming this a prevalent thing. And I can't think who they're gonna make the next person. I mean, outside of like what we're supposed to be doing is guerrilla booking and fantasy booking the shit out of who we want there, but at the end of the day, like I don't have a solid answer that would make sense. And but the problem is that you have a really good mouthpiece in Paul Heyman. You have a really good mouthpiece in Seth Rollins. Braun Breaker's actually very good on the microphone.
Yeah, he's not bad.
You have three very good mouthpieces um that can do promos. Because if you look at WWE in the current state, it's like 70-30. It's 70% mic work, 30% wrestling
Right.
until you get to a pay-per-view. Um, but there is nobody I can think of. Now, yeah, you're right. The answer could be Sami Zayn. The answer could be KO coming back,
He's not.
and that
He's
would
too injured.
devastate Sammy.
His
But
injury is very bad.
I know his injury is, and maybe that's what it was until they have to change it. You know, I I can't think of unless you bring somebody up. How about somebody coming up? Bring somebody new in. That should be it. I mean, is Braun still the new guy? Or bring somebody
No.
in from NXT, maybe.
I think Braun is more like a new guy in a sense where it's like the future. Like he's not a new guy because he's been on the roster for a while. He was Intercontinental Champion for a good minute. Like he's an established like roster WWE guy now. He's no one's looking at like, oh, he's a call up. He's past that now. Um, I mean, really with NXT, I don't know. I just think Sammy's already a built-in. He's good on the mic. He really needs this more than any NXT guy does, to be honest, because if it's not him and he's just fighting with Seth, I mean, what else does he have outside of going back and doing more bloodline stuff and, all the other stuff? But um, I just want to move on real quick from what we're saying because we got a few more minutes left here. And uh, I do want to touch on AEW. They got an event today, which is one of their regular Dynamite shows, but they every now and then they do the like was
Specialty
it?
name dynamites. Specialty
Yeah,
name dynamites.
yeah.
This one's called Beach Break, and they have
Beach
five solid
break.
matches. It's
Okay.
Beach Break. They have five solid matches tonight. We'll we're gonna go in reverse order because the one we want to talk about is not the main event.
Right. Right.
So the main event is Samoa Joe, which everybody loves Samoa Joe,
Right.
versus John Moxley in a steel cage match. It's gonna be
Should be
great.
good. Should
It's
be a
gonna
good match.
should be
Yeah.
good. Should be a typical match. The one that everybody's gonna keep their eyes on though is Offspray Hangman versus Takeshita and Jason Alexander. That's gonna be the one everybody catches their eyes on
Right, for sure.
because I mean that is literally AEW's top talent. That's all four of AEW's top talent in the ring right now. Because obviously Will Ospreay is probably bell to bell the best wrestler
Yeah.
all around when it comes to technical, when it comes to high flying, when it comes to storyline
He's
in
really,
the
yeah, he's
ring
really
or
good.
during the
Yeah.
bell. And then you have Hangman, who's been doing excellent work. Always been a top AEW guy. Takeshita, one of the brightest breakouts in AEW history,
Right.
and Jason Alexander, who is just hot off of his TNA contract,
Yeah.
uh, coming into wrestling a tag match, and Jason Alexander, Seinfeld,
Right.
uh,
That'd be a great match too. I'd love to see that one. Get him out there.
uh, Alexander is he decided to join the Don Callis family, so um, it'll be interesting to see. Then you have Bobby Lashley's going to give MJF his answer tonight about if
Right.
he can join the Hurt
Hurt
Syndicate, which will be
Syndicate.
interesting
Yeah.
because that out there, because again, that you know what the Hurt, that's what it is, the Hurt Syndicate and the, we'll still call them the trifecta of terror. That's what it is. Like they're this, I hate to say it, a whitewashed Hurt Syndicate,
Right.
because MJF, not MJF, MVP is your Paul Heyman,
Yeah.
great on the mic but not wrestler.
Right.
Bobby Lashley is your um Seth Rollins,
Right.
and Sheldon Benjamin is your Braun Breaker. Even though
Yep.
it's in reverse order because Sheldon Benjamin is the older version of it, but when
Yeah.
you look at the character breakdown, that's how it works
That's what
out.
it
And
is. Yeah.
they're looking for their fourth or their third or whatever you want to call it,
Right.
third active wrestler, I should say. But then it's just a good one. Then you have this weird
This is a weird women's
Eliminator
match,
four way.
right?
Yeah, it's the Eliminator four way with Tony Storm, Sky Blue, Shikakawa, and AZM. I don't know who AZM is. I think she is a New Japan person.
Hmm.
Um, I think she's a New Japan champion actually. Uh, but then we get to the opening match,
Right.
which is Ricochet in an ass kicking contest against a man with one leg, Zack Gowen.
Yeah. And for people and for the younger fans who don't know and they've never watched him because I haven't watched AEW programming, so I'm assuming that he's been on television. I'm assuming that people know that he has one leg. Um,
Oh, I've never
they
I watched last week. I don't remember this. I don't remember where Zack Gowen just showed the fuck up in AEW. I
I'm
don't.
interested in seeing him. I mean, forget the fact that he has one leg. I mean,
It's never lost a Rumble. He's
he's
been in them, but he's never lost them.
yeah,
Why?
he's
Because
he's
both legs can't hit the ground.
he's
I'm just
exactly
saying.
rules are rules. Rules are rules. See, the thing is that he's a good wrestler, but now he's older. So one
he
leg,
he looks,
older,
bro.
but
He have you seen the picture? Like
yes,
if you
I
get a
did see the
chance, go
picture today. I did
this
see the
this
picture today.
this this guy looks like he should be mowing a lawn
Yeah.
with New Balances on, hitting a midlife crisis.
Those
I don't think
balances won't help.
off, he's got a pair of off balances.
Off balances, yeah. That's
Um,
that's he
that's a
should be a sponsor.
trade. That's a trademark joke right there. I don't think
Yeah.
anybody's gonna get that one, but that's a good
No.
one. But but the man still has the Eminem blonde hair. Like, could you at least dad it up a little bit? Like,
Yeah.
I don't think you need your bleached out blonde hair. Like, are
Yeah.
you hitting your midlife crisis somewhere?
That's what I'm saying. He's an older Zach now, and he's got one leg. The leg didn't grow back. It's still gone. So it's gonna be very interesting to see how he wrestles tonight. It's making me
How
tune in to AEW. So he's definitely a
he's
draw.
42.
See,
He's
that's what I'm saying.
42.
He's 42 with one leg. And I don't know if he's been
Five
wrestling
foot
on the
11.
indies. I don't know if he's been very active, but I haven't heard this guy's name in God knows how long. So, that's, but I will say this because
That's why this is why I missed it. He
what
was
is it?
in a he was his debut was literally last week. So if anybody wants to
Okay.
go back and watch it, it was the May 8th collision when he was an audience member, and he would end up being attacked by Ricochet. And that's okay. So this is where the memes came from, and now I understand. I saw a video of Ricochet hitting somebody with a prosthetic leg.
That wasn't him though.
It was Zach Gowen's. It
Are
was
you
this last
sure?
weekend. Yeah, I'm just reading it.
No, but there
He
was
stole it.
there was a guy. Wait a minute. I'm trying to remember. I remember seeing that on Twitter, and the guy tweeted it that he used my leg and was like proud of it, like it was a fan. And I don't even think it was
Like,
Ricochet that took it. It was somebody else.
no, but Ricochet attacked Zack Gowen. I think is what it was. Is what I'm saying is link the meme, link the video and the meme. This is what happened. Someone saw the video of the guy using the prosthetic leg
So
as a
then,
weapon,
yeah,
and
okay, I
it
see
probably
what you're
wasn't
saying.
Ricochet. And then Ricochet's like, I got a great idea.
Just use
I
it as
know
a
Zach Gow.
storyline.
I know Zach Gowen. Let's make a storyline out of this.
That's crazy. I mean, look, I'm watching AEW for the first time tonight because of Zack Gowen, just to see how he does. And Ricochet can work. People can say what they want about him on the mic or whatever. He could still wrestle. He's still good. But Zack Gowen at 42 years old with one leg is going to be sight to see. It's must see TV. So people should watch tonight. If I'm telling people to watch AEW tonight, they should definitely watch AEW tonight just for that match. Everything else, I mean, Samoa Joe in a cage with John Moxley should be pretty good. The MJF segment's going to be fine. The girls' match is probably going to be good. And then the tag match is going to be fine because you're going to get great people in there. What did you see? Does
So
your
you know how
rabbit hole?
wrestling can never, fucking do something original, right?
Right.
So this is just a rewash storyline of Rowdy Roddy Piper.
The one with him and trying to remember.
Sean
Oh,
O'Hare.
with who?
Don O'Hare.
Sean O'Hare. Yeah, 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 yeah. That was like later on. Wasn't he like managing them or he was that was like later when he was just like around WWE because Sean O'Hare was in like the early like uh ruthless aggression era on SmackDown.
So here's how here's how it's written.
Don't read the whole thing. You know how long these shows are going to
No,
be? I
no,
got my
no, no,
son
no.
coming
Hold
on
on.
the bus right now. I can't sit here
Hold
for
on.
20 minutes
No, no,
listening to Sean
I'm reading
O'Hare
you.
and
No.
fucking Roddy Piper. I don't
It's
want
fine.
to hear all
It's
this
fine.
shit. I don't think anyone else
It's
does.
just fine.
People don't even know who the fuck
No,
Sean O'Hare
listen.
is.
But that's the whole. No, it's about Gowan. This is about Gowan.
Okay,
Okay,
go
this is
ahead. Can
about
you
Gowan.
make it
It
under
says
5 minutes so we can
yes,
end the fucking
yes,
show?
yes,
Jesus Christ.
yes. Because I want to listen. We're trying to keep this show on
Yeah, I'm
one leg.
trying to keep
Okay.
it short.
So it says his WWE debut was May 15th, 2013, when he was a he's a planted fan in the
Right.
audience
We
who
know this,
came
yes.
out when he came out of the ring to help who? Mr. America. That's
Yeah.
the reason why I brought it up.
That's a fucking
Right?
that's your buddy. That's you
Uh,
and if people watched our sports program this last couple days or yesterday actually, fucking Dre had a
Final
Hulkster
four,
shirt on. He had a
Final
Hulk.
Four pod. Please check out the Final Four podcast where you can learn about more about all the regular sports and not just associated wrestling. Because guess
Exactly.
what? When you're a wrestling nerd, you're also a sports nerd. So please watch the Final Four podcast. Also, watch all the other podcasts here on Look. It's a podcast network. Just go to the podcast on YouTube. Just look up on YouTube. Look, it's a podcast. Hit the Discord server. The links are everywhere. And just come join the fun and bullshit with us. But anyway, he was a fan planted. He came out and Roddy stole his leg.
Yeah.
So
That's right.
cut.
That's right. That's right. He took the leg. So okay, with all that said, AEW is going to be definitely worth a watch tonight. It's piqued my interest for sure. We covered Backlash.
It's
We
only
covered
piqued your
everything else.
it's only piqued your interest because a man with one leg's gonna wrestle. It's not
Yes.
because the best wrestler is gonna be in a
Nope.
tag match. It's not because you get to see a steel cage match. No,
Nope.
it's motherfucking Gowen.
He's a
Okay,
draw.
he's a draw.
He's a
Zach
draw.
Gowen's a draw. Can I get a Zach Gowen shirt with just one sleeve on it?
One sleeve, and it says it's a draw.
It's a draw. I'm
It's
a
a draw.
draw. Like
Yeah.
I have kids.
Yeah,
Oh wait, no,
exactly.
this is different wrestler.
Yeah. Who has both of his limbs. So to close out everything, we have AEW tonight and SmackDown coming up, and then we got the NXT Battleground or whatever the fuck it's called this Sunday, I believe.
I believe
Um,
it's Sunday.
yeah, so that should be pretty good. So we'll next week we'll go over, the results of that and our, I didn't watch NXT last night. I caught a little bit of the highlights, but pretty much it should be pretty
The
interesting.
only thing that's worth it on it is Joe Hendry. Like
Yeah,
just understand that. Like I get it. Like NXT's probably got some of the best storylines out there,
they do.
but your best storyline is the TNA World Champion, Joe Hendry.
Well, that's a good storyline, but at the same time, Stephanie Vaquer is going to be facing Jordan Grace and defending the title against her. That should be a pretty good match.
Why is she going back down? Oh no, Jordan Grace is in NXT. I thought she went up to the main roster for some reason. I don't know why I thought that.
No, no, no.
Because Jordan Grace should be main roster ready already. Like that I don't know why she's such a well-built female wrestler, probably one of the best female technical wrestlers out there.
Yeah,
And she's on the NXT brand. I mean, I guess she has to learn how to they want her how to learn how to talk on the mic and learn how to wrestle their moves. And she's so well established, but I I don't like it. I think Jordan Grace should just want main roster. There's a bunch of girls that should have want main roster. Um, they should have still fired Nikita Lyons.
yeah.
Um,
I mean, they demoted her
but
to Evolve, something that most people don't really watch for real. I haven't watched one episode, but I will say with Jordan Grace, just kind of like with Nakamura and stuff, he was established in New Japan, and it's same with TNA. Now the casuals aren't really watching TNA; they're watching more now because of the working with WWE. So I think it's just getting her over with the casuals and NXT, so then that way they could bring her up properly instead of just throwing her out there. I mean, they put her in the Rumble when she was the Knockouts champ, and she did really well, and she looked really good. But at the same time, there's still a lot of people who don't, really know a lot about her. If you're a WWE casual fan, like the little kids that who the audience really is what they're going after. Is she marketable for the kids? Can she sell merch? Can she do this? There's all the business moves that they are trying to think about. When you have somebody like her who's very talented, I could tell that she's, not as physically strong, appearance wise, as she was before. So I think they're trying to change her look slightly, but for the most part, I think she's fine in NXT because the women's division is really really good. So that's pretty much it. What do you want to say in closing since we got a couple more minutes?
go out there and post in the comments after you like and subscribe to us. Go tell us what your favorite Sabu match was. I think we want to. I think we'll end it on a high note. I think we'll end it on a note of remembrance. And I would love the fan base out there to tell us what your favorite Sabu match was. And if you've never seen a Sabu match, go enjoy a Sabu match. Even if it is the WWE Extreme Rules match, go watch a Sabu match this week. He deserves it. He deserves all the praise. If you can, support his family, you know, get a Sabu t-shirt somewhere. I I mean the man was revolutionary for what he did. He was
Absolutely.
the homicidal, suicidal, genocidal, you know,
Yeah.
maniac. He was just I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that's where I want to leave it at.
Yeah.
It's not somber,
Yeah.
but it's definitely I don't think
I
they even gave him a 10 bell salute,
They might
did
have
they?
for the audience. No, they did a little they did a nice little what do you call it? Little like they showed his highlights and stuff. The word's escaping me right now, but they showed like his
Yeah.
highlights. They said some nice words about him, which was really good and classy, which, you would think WWE would just put like his picture like in the very beginning and just how the Yuri's board and the day Yuri passed away, but they actually did a little tribute to him, which was really great. But I think yeah, that would be a good thing for everybody. Put your favorite Sabu match in the comments. Like, subscribe, share. We'd love to get this out there in the algorithm so a lot of people could see this and give Joe another reason to go down the rabbit hole. So if we're gonna have 2 hour podcasts, let us do it for a really good reason. We got a lot of people watching us, so we'll tell us if people like 2 hours. 2 hour podcasts, or you tell us, what do you like us to talk about? Is there something that you want us to get deep dive in? You want us to get into like indie wrestling? Maybe we'll get Sock Monkey Mike on here and he can do a little indie talk. He can enlighten us on some of the hot indie wrestlers that are out right now. But
I mean,
uh
we have a lot of me and Server have a lot of West Coast connections when it comes to like I'm not saying like big connections. What I'm saying like when it comes to like certain indie scenes out in the West Coast, like we have a guy who is the cameraman for PCW.
yeah,
He does that quite a bit, and he's a really good camera guy. He could tell you like a lot of intricate work about camera work and stuff like that. I have a friend I might be able to get her on. She does photography for Monster Factory. Um, she so like you can always find your connection into the indie
yeah,
scene, and then you can learn and work your way up through the works of that stuff. So we can, who would you like to see on, obviously under certain circumstances
yeah.
that would
And
love to give you some insight.
And we want to have different, people on here, not just necessarily like just guests,
Wrestlers. I
not necessarily guests, but like Joe just said, like wrestlers, bookers, people who own companies, people who are announcers for, promotions. Just,
Yeah,
we're open to a lot of different things because, we can always just, Joe and I can do this shit for hours if you wanted to. Like, this is no problem for us to talk wrestling, to talk about whatever, go down the rabbit hole about many different things. But, we like to get other people's takes on things. We like to have special guests in here and they can have, they have a hot take on something and we could debate them. We could get wrestlers on here and they talk about the business and just, a lot of different things. And if it's somebody that you are interested in, tell us and then we can try to get them on here and see how that works. So, thanks, Joe, for being on here like always and doing this with me. And thanks everybody for watching. Yep, we'll do that. Do that for Sabu. Thank you guys for watching. Like I said, like, sub, we definitely want that sub, but we love comments. Fact check us too if we said something that was wrong. All of it. Give it to us. We want it. Thank you guys. Follow us on social media. We'll see you guys another time.